In 2 Timothy 2:3, the Apostle Paul describes the nature of people in the last days. In his description, he warns of people who are characterized as having a form of godliness but denying its power. Paul then issues this command: have nothing to do with such people. Paul often uses contrast to emphasize an attribute he wishes to highlight. In 2 Timothy 3:1-4, he gives Timothy a long list of sinful behaviors and attitudes that are contrary to God's will. In reverse, he tells Timothy to avoid those who state they are Christians with their mouths. They have a form of godliness, but who act as unbelievers, they deny the power of godliness. Those who have a form of godliness are those who make an outward display of religion. They present themselves as godly, but it's all for show. There is no power behind their religion, as evidence in the fact that their lives are unchanged. They speak of God and live in sin. They are fine with that arrangement. As commentator Charles Ellicott wrote, these, by claiming the title of Christians, wearing before men the uniform of Christ, but their lives dishonoring his name, did the gravest injury to the holy Christian's cause. These false Christians are destructive. Paul warns that they will creep into households and make captive of gullible women loaded down with sins, led away by various lusts, and that they are always learning and never able to come to the knowledge of truth. That they are always learning and never able to come to the knowledge of truth. 2 Timothy 3:6-7, he compares them to the wicked magicians who opposed Moses and warns that their folly and corrupt minds will be revealed to all eventually. The power of God, which should accompany the form of godliness, is shown through the Holy Spirit and results in the transformation of our lives. The Holy Spirit indwells the believer and enables him to bear certain fruit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. These are the attributes of a true Christian, as opposed to Paul's list of sin in 2 Timothy 3:1-4. Paul's exhortation to Timothy falls in line with James' exhortation how to identify a true faith. True faith will be evidenced by good works, which will occur naturally. If a person says he's a Christian but shows no evidence in his life by bearing the fruit of the Spirit, we have to make a judgment about him and avoid that person. He may have a form of godliness, but he is denying God's power and not letting himself be controlled by the Spirit. Denying God's power by not letting himself be controlled by the Spirit. In fact, if his faith is not genuine, he cannot be controlled by God's power, because the Holy Spirit does not dwell in him. The natural person does not accept the things of the Spirit of God, for they are folly to him, and he is not able to understand them because they are spiritually discerned. 1 Corinthians 2-14. The natural person may have a form of godliness, but he denies God's power in the way he lives. Only faith in Jesus Christ can bring justification and the transformation he so desperately needs.